Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Today we got Trevor Giles from We Will Rot. This is one of our old buddies. We used to play all the time shows around Michigan, and I'm sure we went to Ohio at some point. But hi, Trevor. How you doing?
Good, good. Yeah. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good, man.
Doing good.
I can't lie, man. I'm in love with your band. Like the more I listen, I'm like, dude, I totally could vibe to this. And it isn't just like the buddy going, you're writing good stuff. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I appreciate that. I'd rather you tell me if it sucked or not.
Yeah, no, it does not. It's killer, dude.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, Nat was telling me you guys have a new song
But that
or a recent song. Did we just listen to it?
yeah, that's their recent
Okay, cool. I saw that was
their
from
recent.
recent,
I mean, as
recent.
far as
Yes,
Yeah.
it's more recent than I
Um I
got.
think yeah, that would probably be our most recent shot of video. I guess that's our single, I guess. Because it's the only thing we like made a video for and just kind of pushed. That one we pushed. I don't know. Like that's the one that like took off, which is kind of interesting for me. So we were like, let's just make a video for it. What the hell?
Fuck it. Yeah.
Yeah, people don't make that many like local artists don't make too many videos nowadays. At
yeah.
least I don't notice, but videos are fun to do. I'd love to do more.
Yeah, I love
The video
videos.
turned out great.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like how. Go ahead.
the guy who shot it, he's shout out to Brian. I forgot his last name, or I think it's Decker, but I could probably share like his Instagram profile. But yeah, he was super affordable, easy to work with. He'll do it all pretty much. The turnaround was crazy quick, and he also did our drummer's other bands, Convulsus, their music video, and it's like in some sort of like film festival, like because they did like an actual story with theirs. Like it's an old '80s like slasher movie in like campiness. It's really well done. It's really fun too to watch. And if you ever get a chance to check that out, it's um
What was his
the
name
band's
again?
Convulsus. The videographer,
Yeah.
Brian Decker,
Brian Deck. Okay.
Bryandeker. I'll send you guys his profile if you're ever
Oh,
interested.
okay. Right on.
Yeah, it turned out really good, dude. I
Yeah.
think yeah, and your drummer is a damn shredder, dude. My
Yeah,
God.
that's like an ongoing joke within the band too. Is like when we play shows or like if somebody watches us or anything, they're always like, dude, the drummer.
Yeah. Well, and I remember like talking to Tim when Tim was I think he was tracking him for your guys' album,
Mhm.
and he was like, no mistakes. He's
Yeah.
just like a robot, you know? And it sounds like it. It sounds like you guys have like a I'm gonna say kind of like a raw feel, and
Hmm.
you can tell it's just he's just playing effortlessly. I love that blast in that song too. It's killer.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when we went to record that with Tim. I think he knocked out all five songs within like 2 hours.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
right.
like and like flawlessly too.
Yeah,
He just kind of showed up, did his thing, and then he was just hanging out and drinking a beer.
yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
killer, dude.
he's probably, I'm very lucky to play with him. He's made me like a better musician, like all of them have. And he's so damn fast and clean and in the pocket. It definitely, like, I had to learn how to sing faster, do vocals
Right.
faster to kind of keep up.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's phenomenal. He does, not just like metal or like any style you can think of. Like his other band's more of like a thrash metal band, and the things he does in that band is just, I mean, it boggles my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I've listened to Convulsus too. They're killer.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, they're doing good things too. I hope they kind of blow up this year for sure.
Yeah, it's nice to see like for me, I'm still out of the scene, but I've fell back in love with music again after kids and just
Hmm.
getting older and it's cool to just see so much talent that's still pouring out of Michigan,
Oh yeah.
especially downriver and all over around here.
Yeah, and a lot of it too is it like how you just mentioned, like getting kind of like getting back into it. It's a lot of the people that we kind of knew when we were coming up getting back into it. And like somehow in their like absence, they just came back way better.
Right. Right. But you see all these I watch a million interviews and podcasts and different just music things on YouTube all the time and you hear bands talk about like early deathcore, or early metal in general, to where like it was more competition constantly.
Yeah.
You didn't have such like a camaraderie, I think, as now when we've all gotten a little older and we're like, hey, like they're doing good shit. Like I'm gonna support them too, and they're gonna support me, and vice
Hmm.
versa. It's just such a better community, I think. Not that I don't cherish those times completely, because I do.
Yeah.
I think it's cool seeing this side of it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely remember in like the early bands that I was in as like a young teenager, like I got that gist, right? Like there was kind of like a cool kids club,
Yeah.
but now like if you did that now, it's like you get hyped up or you
Yes.
get pretty they back you right off rip and it just kind of helps you like become better and like keep at it because there was a lot of bands I saw back in the day where they were like phenomenal but nobody gave them the time of day and then they just kind of
Yeah.
fizzled away like instantly.
Yeah. It was like it was like cancel culture before the internet had cancel culture?
Yeah, you just had to
Yeah.
Yeah.
watch out for a bulletin post about you on MySpace. Just that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you
Right.
wanted to be on someone's friend list. I
Yeah.
Right,
remember.
right. We're not in your top 10, dude.
Yeah,
God.
man.
Oh, having to worry about that was crazy.
Yeah. And like who are you gonna put in there? Are they gonna be offended if they're not? You know?
Yeah. Even for the band pages, like you kind of got kind of like OCD about checking your music plays, and it's like, oh, we didn't get 20 plays today. Like we suck.
Right.
We gotta put out a new song. Yep.
You're right, which was definitely not as easy as it is now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh hell no, no.
Yeah. It's crazy how stuff fluctuates now, like even with Spotify or Bandcamp. Like
Yeah.
the there's waves for sure. Like obviously when you first put something out, it explodes. It's all over, kind of
Yeah.
dies down for a little bit, and then like out of nowhere, this happened to us. Like somewhere in Brazil, or South America, um, we got like 3,000 listeners monthly, like out
Nice.
of nowhere. We don't know how it happened, who put our song out, what out, and then it kind of just went away. But that's the cool thing now versus then. Like I feel like you could find a lot of music back then, but it definitely was a lot harder. You were only limited to MySpace and the
Oh yeah.
popularity. But now
Right.
it's like Spotify or Bandcamp. You could just click shuffle, and then it's just spoon fed to you now.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
that and I think the number of bands and like metal artists in general today is just it's nuts. Like I can find a new favorite band every day.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I thought there was a lot back then, but it's 100 times bigger now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy just to be like, because I'll look at my artist Spotify artist page, and I'm like, oh, I got somebody from Germany. Like that would have never
Yeah,
happened. You know what I mean? I know that my band was never heading to Germany anytime soon
right.
back in the day.
Yeah, yeah. It would only be like once in a blue moon, maybe, if they just
Yeah.
kind of stumbled across your MySpace or Peer Volume
Yeah.
randomly. But they had to take like all those extra steps to kind of get there eventually. But yeah, it's Bandcamp does a really cool feature for getting your stuff out to new people.
Yeah.
Ever since we were kind of late to that, and Adam was like, with Convulsus, we did it right away. We should try to do one, and ever since, like, we'll get randomly like people, because you can pay to own the songs on Bandcamp, and every now and then somebody will chip in like $3, $5,
Yeah.
30 bucks. Like it's pay what you want. So it's really cool to see that like people still appreciate paying for music as well,
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
and with like zero like asking like, hey, support us. Like it's just on their free will. They listened to it, they liked it, and then we'll randomly get like an email that says like, you got $3.
Yeah, you're like,
Nice.
yeah, stoked.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It'll add up eventually.
Yeah. Well, even like, Twitch, for instance, seeing people just streaming people that get things, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's cool. People are supporting whether you're playing a video game or, you're playing an acoustic solo song or, it's a cool platform, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that because I just started Twitch streaming for the first time all last year. It's officially been 1 year, and I would say about halfway, uh, some people were just starting to throw cash, and or like, the subscriptions, or um, there's like little like in stream, like I don't know if they want to throw like tomatoes at my screen or something, they'll pay for that just to kind of like be funny.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it came in enough to where I had like a small community starting, and I got to file taxes now on Twitch. I got to go to my accountant and be like,
Nice.
I met the threshold. I got to file this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
What is it like $500 or 600? Like if you
I think it was 600. Yeah. So
yeah.
about, I'd say it was, there was two moments where somebody just did like $100 like gift subscriptions for like everybody.
Oh wow.
Um, so that kind of like added to it. But it wasn't like, I'm not like making big bucks or anything, but uh, it's just cool to see like on the side, like, eventually your hustle will pay off if you just keep
Yeah.
at it. But
Right.
I met some really cool people along the way. Just they
Oh,
they pop in, chat real quick, and
hell yeah.
I kind of focused on like one game series, so it kind of had that common ground already, so it makes the conversation even easier. So yeah, I mean, it's the best part is meeting people along the way and just sharing ideas, and it's basically just hanging out.
Yeah, I didn't even know this community was here till like 2 years ago. Like, I always thought Twitch was just like primarily video games, and
Yeah.
I I saw this guy, Mike, uh, Mike Menza. I think he does like lots of guitar, like lots of like Slayer and like old school heavy metal guitar covers. And I'm like, what the
Mm-hmm.
hell? What the hell is this? And I like stumbled onto like the dude from Soulfly, and then Joshua Travis, and then it's just like a spider web of
Yeah.
streamers, and I'm like, wow, I want to get into this. This is
Yeah,
cool.
music's a big part of Twitch now. Like I think they just passed to allow like people to live DJ without having the music strikes. Because that was a big problem that everybody complained about, was like if you had background music of some artists, like they would just axe your whole entire stream, or you get kicked off or something. So
Really?
they're really opening up the possibilities for music more and more. Like I even kind of experimented with like I did like a TRL like style stream and just played music videos that people wanted to hear, and
Yeah.
that
Yep, we do
did
that.
that
Yep.
did crazy good.
Yeah, yep.
And music on Twitch is definitely a big thing, and I even see bands live streaming their live sets on tour. I know Casey Strain does that. So like
Yep.
I can go watch a Casey strain in Texas in the comfort of my own home, toss them a few bucks.
Yep. Yeah, I just watched one. Vincent just posted one. He put together a show not long ago. I don't know if you caught that one. It was probably
Oh,
just in the
Mhm.
last 2 months or something.
okay. Yeah, I probably missed that because I've been offline for doing this
Oh
move and
yeah, moving.
fixing on the house. Um, yeah,
Yeah, it is cool though.
this has definitely been like the first time I've been like online in quite a while.
Oh, well, we're glad to have you, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, how about we talk a little bit about, I guess maybe we can go forward then backwards. Let's talk about We Will Rot and kind of
Okay.
how you guys came about. I know you said that you guys have actually the band has been a thing sort of for a while, but
Yeah. So yeah, they definitely have been a band for quite a long time. At least I think I've played with them with my last two bands that I was a part of. At least, at least 12. I'll say ballpark 12 plus years. It's been Adam and Sean has been the core members. It's kind of their band. They did it for fun. It was just them like hanging out, writing some music. They've had a couple bass players come through, um, different vocalists. But this formation, or this lineup is pretty much like we're settled on this, and we're kind of it's the first time that in the band history where it's um, been quite it's taken more serious for sure.
Looks like you're getting a
yeah.
shout out here by Spawn Reaver. Big shout out to
Spawn Reaver.
yeah.
See, okay, so Spawn Reaver is somebody from when I when I stream on Twitch, so he must have got my little notification and
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
hopped on over here. That's pretty cool. Yeah, shout out
Yeah.
Spawn
Yeah.
Reaver.
Thanks for coming on. So you said now Sean was in Bloodline Calligraphy, or is, I
Yep.
should say.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
uh and then you said Adam. Did Adam have another project as well, or?
They were in a band kind of growing up. It was kind of so based on hanging out at practice and stuff and hearing about their first bands. They were in a band together called California Shotgun,
Okay.
and obviously it's like you know it's what you think by hearing the name. It was very new metal. New metal was the thing at that
That's
time,
awesome.
Hell yeah.
and they were just a couple young guns just doing some crazy new metal out in Ypsilanti. Um, but yeah, Adam currently, I know he does some like sessions for like I think he did like a black metal project from like India or something crazy like that. Somebody contacted him through social media, so he'll do stuff like that every now and then. But yeah, his other main band at the moment is Convulsus, which we
Yeah.
were kind of talking about earlier.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just saw
Yeah, they're killer.
they're playing at Harpo's pretty soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wasn't
Who
that
is Sean?
Convulsus? Or am I thinking of a different band?
No, you're thinking of another. They're probably not playing Harpos.
Uh, there's another band that's like the
Yeah, we're talking about I keep seeing a flyer for it, Trevor. Have you heard of it's like Covalescence or something?
Oh, yeah.
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 I think they're coming to like Harpos or
Yeah, I think that's right because I think I think they asked us if we wanted to play Harpo's and we were just like, sorry, no.
yeah.
I don't think it would have fit our schedule anyway, but I mean, who wants to play Harpo's nowadays?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, not gonna lie, I played there a bunch of times back in
Yeah.
the early days,
Mhm.
but uh I had no fear of dying back then either. Sorry, Harpos, if you can tell me that it's different now if you're listening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But
I got like three different friends that got car stereo still in there.
Oh yeah. Wheels, taking the wheels off people's trucks. Like, how does
Wheels,
that happen under full security? You
kidneys.
know?
Yeah.
I think I've played there once, and I was like a teenager, and I don't remember how I got out of there alive.
Yeah. I don't know how you got out of the bathroom without catching some kind of MRSA or,
But
you know.
the Hatebreed DVD made it look like an awesome place, though.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the thing. Like, I mean, and you used to get those huge bands coming through there,
Yeah,
like from the 80s, all the 80s hair metal, all the way up into the new metal era and the start, you know, I don't want to say the start of hardcore because it started way before that, but
yeah,
the 2000s, you know, the early 2000s, Hatebreed and shoot,
yeah.
we've seen a bunch of bands there.
The show that I played or opened up for was Bleeding Through, and I think it was like one of those tours where it was like 8 bands together,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a fest exactly. I think it was Bleeding Through, like Bone of Osiris, that era when like Sumerian bands were like the thing.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I had to sell hella
Yeah.
tickets for that.
Oh
Holy
yeah.
shit.
Oh man.
Yeah. And you played
Sumerian.
before the lights turned on, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I mean, as a teenager, I was like, this is the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah,
And then it's just like, a handful of your friends that were able to get inside.
exactly.
And
Right.
everybody's like still loading up, setting up all the stuff.
I remember like we would play and my bass player, re rest in peace to Jamie, but he just was reckless and he would be like, I got the tickets. He went up and pick them up, you know. And I'd be
Uh-huh.
like, sweet. I'd be like, how many did you sell? And he'd end up giving them away, and then we would have to try to scrape up the money for these tickets.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, it's only 70 tickets at $15 a piece. We're like, was hard money
Oh,
for us, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Especially when
think
you're
one
younger
time they held
too.
his gear as collateral, like his
Ooh.
bass equipment they kept.
I thought you said his
It's
ear.
crazy.
I'm like,
Yeah, they kept his ear as collateral.
what, Mike Tyson?
Like I said, rest in peace. That's why they took his ear and it killed him. No, I'm just kidding. That's not funny, but yeah. So the band is doing good. You guys released early this past year, right? Or mid?
Yeah. I would say earlier, I think right after winter, right into spring,
Yeah.
around that time, it feels like it's been so long. Um, and yeah, we released that. We kind of had like a big gap in between our releases. We were only doing like 3 song kind of demos.
Yeah.
Um, and the second one in between the latest one that we released, there was at least like maybe a 2 year gap. Um, or something like that. A very long gap in between them. But yeah, we have quite a bit of songs. I know Sean has tons of riffs like on his like stored away on his phone. Uh, we probably could pump out a lot more songs, or demos, albums, but we're really just kind of chill, and we kind of it's more of like a fun thing for us to do, get out of the house, hang out, play some music. Um, like we definitely have like we definitely could put enough material together to have at least like 10 demos worth, or a couple full lengths. But yeah, and everybody's in a ton of different bands. I know Sean's super busy. Everybody has kids and we're fan dads
Right.
and stuff. um so it kind of makes it more enjoyable that way. It doesn't feel
Yes.
like a job to
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
we have to write another record, we have to do this, we have to do that. It's just kind of like, you
Right.
guys want to practice once a month, that's fine. Like you get,
Yeah.
but it kind of have it being a little bit slower, I felt like produced a lot better stuff as well.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Instead of just like rushing through it. So
Well, and like you said too, I mean, I think we all know that the way the the way the music platforms roll nowadays, you know, if you put too much material out at once too,
yeah,
it's easy for things to slip through the cracks, you know.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So you have the advantage. You got like 10 years worth of music if you play your cards right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I call that the spirit box mode. We're gonna release a single every 3 months for the next 4 years.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely with like the new demographic of listeners, it's definitely like an attention span thing. And, you know, I I feel like rap artists did it way before anybody else. Like
Yeah,
just, a couple singles. Like they never really did full length albums.
Yeah.
Or it was always like the underground demos or something.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's like how it is now. It's like you kind of have to pump out stuff frequently, or else you do
Yep.
kind of fall behind a little bit.
Yes.
yeah,
But I mean, we don't really care. I mean, we're just chilling and hanging out.
Yep. Nope, I agree. That's kind of like the project I'm in is very similar, just, you know, both full-time families and we're
Yeah,
working and, doing all that stuff. So it's like, hey, I'm still able to do this. I'm still able to put music out there for people to hear, which is, I mean, essentially part of the release as an artist, right? And then
right.
and just keep the grind going the best you can.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, totally agree with that.
What would you say? Like, are you guys, um, do you have like per month, are you saying, every couple months we're gonna try to do a show, or do you have any kind of
Um,
guidelines as far as that goes, or just when you
so
fit it in?
we kind of we've been wanting to do some more shows. We had a little bit of struggle to get onto shows. Um, or it's kind of like we either get a struggle to get on the shows, or we do get asked to shows, but it's like it never fits our schedules, unfortunately.
Right.
Because of our jobs, full-time jobs, families, kids. Obviously all that stuff has to come first for us. if
Yeah.
we were if we were a lot younger, we could just be like, oh, we want to do a show on a Wednesday for sure, like we'll be
Right.
there. We don't have to be like, oh, our kid has a sports event or whatever it may be, or I gotta go work on the house.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we do get some shows a little bit often. And we're trying to get on a little bit more. One thing we do kind of struggle with is kind of we want to play a lot more mixed shows or mixed bills, and we're kind of like a style where we can cater to like everybody. Um, but it we don't play often enough to, so it's like a double-edged sword. So like the shows that we do play, they're awesome, they're fun, it's great, but then it's like we're trying to branch off and get into like other people's eyes and ears, and
Yeah.
it's harder to break into that too when there's like kind of like your already set core bands already who will probably play those shows already. So it's a little bit struggle. It's not nothing that we're like crying about or something, or just like, oh, this is it's gonna ruin the band, or I mean, we would like to play for
Oh yeah.
sure. Like I feel like everybody would, um, but you know, we just take them as they come in, and you make the best out of them. And every show that we do play, they're always great. And when we do get some like extra opportunities to outside of the normal wheelhouse, like the take full advantage of those and do what you can.
Oh yeah. I think it's funny you say like trying to um that you can cater to many audiences because I hear that in you guys. I just from listening, I'm like, I hear like I don't want to really name bands because I feel like sometimes that can suck if
Yeah.
like you sound like this band and this band and this band. But uh I would mean it in the best way. But you know what I'm saying? It's like
I'm
I'm
really
like
bad at
I
that.
definitely like hardcore influence and then the metal is there and
Yeah.
you know even even deathcore-ish death metal stuff is in your stuff too. So uh I like I said, I'm a fan. I sent it to, like I told you, I sent it to one of my buddies today. I'm like, you gotta check this out because your band is nostalgic to me.
Yeah.
It has like a timeless feel, you know?
Yeah, we that's definitely like one thing we did want to do too is like we wanted to make songs where it wasn't just, chugging the whole time or uh, you know, or just something that we don't really want to do or play just, sound like a one to one to another band.
Right,
That's why we try to do like a bunch of like different styles. We, play what we enjoy. Um, it and that's like another like double edged sword too. It's like sometimes people don't really get the musician aspect of like, Sean's ripping some riffs and he's playing, you know, some wild stuff and certain sections of the songs, and
yeah,
Adam is like doing these crazy fills.
yeah,
Kind of just goes over everybody's heads. They just want to hear the breakdown.
right.
Yeah.
But what can you do?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I catch myself even writing for me. I'm like, oh, but that doesn't sound like what you typically write. And then I'm
Mhm.
like, but who says that that's what you typically write? You know what I
Right?
mean? Like,
Yeah.
no, I write this too, you know, so and
Yeah.
why not keep it in the same, you know, I don't have to make a new band for it. I don't, you know.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And we try to take the approach too, where it's like we want to make it fun for ourselves to play live too, and
Yeah,
make every song sound different. So it's like, at least you get 20 minutes of it, not just dun dun dun, dun the whole time.
right.
You know, I mean, there's a time and place for that type of stuff too.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not a part of that, and it's just what it's hard to like I feel like back in the day, people really liked riffs and
Yeah,
Oh yeah. You had bands.
really,
Yeah.
yeah, or like I mean, there was a even with like deathcore for example, like yeah, there's breakdowns and everybody had like the top 10 breakdown videos and stuff, but um, I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
nowadays it's just
Yeah,
too
back then,
simplified
back
or
then you had
over.
bands like All Shall Perish and As Blood Runs Black that would incorporate lots of melody and
yeah.
Yeah.
harmonies.
Through the eyes of the dead.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, Through
Mhm.
the Eyes of the Dead.
And when you think about it now, like you know those riffs in your head, like you can whistle them if you truly wanted to, because
Oh yeah.
they were that memorable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
This
You got to
individual,
be
what's up?
completely dead tired after a set because your guys' stuff is just balls to the wall, man.
Yeah. I kind of do this thing where I've gained some weight. I won't lie.
I mean,
So
yeah,
when
me
I'm
too, man.
when I'm on stage, and that's probably the most moving around I'm doing at the moment. Boy, I'll get gassed out. Every time I play with my Apple Watch, I'll do like the little exercise thing.
Yeah,
And
that's a good
then
idea.
like at the end of the set, I'm like, holy shit, I just burnt like 800 calories in like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
But I also like to I like to move around, even if I like my body doesn't react to my mind. Like I feel I want to give like an actual performance. Like me personally, I don't really like watching a band and they're just dead still, just standing there,
right.
not even headbanging or anything. Like, I like movement. I want to provide something for somebody watching, and nobody came out. Um, give them space player just did like a front flip,
Yeah.
or the vocalist was just all over the place and did not stop. That's what I like to try to do. And every now and then my
Oh
body is
yeah.
like, but
Yeah.
that's something I've always been into and always done. Uh, but
I, I think it is important to like as a whole pack, I don't know, you know, uh, some band that I can't think of right now, Seal,
Seal.
like uh, our types of
uh,
I don't know. Seal might jump around like crazy. I don't know. I've never seen Seal, but
now we're
uh,
just talking
yeah,
about
but I think like I enjoy
Yeah.
seeing the crowd surfing and the sharing the mic and like those things. And it's probably just because of like my time frame in music. Like I think one of the first hardcore shows I ever seen at Mr. Muggs was Walls of Jericho, 18 Visions. Um, I think Friction played actually,
Mhm.
being that we're talking about some of your band members. But that's where like hardcore for I mean, it was like a whole new genre. It was a whole new genre to me. I
Mhm.
I had been seeing, Machine Head and Mudvayne and shit like that, which I still love, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
completely different mosh, completely different crowd. Uh, like you said.
Yeah, that also kind of goes back to like we love playing um mixed bills, and our last show we played with indie bands, and they were phenomenal and they were great, and getting to play to like an audience who you know isn't your typical metal kid or hardcore kid or whoever. If it's just like a normal person who just got off work and they just like playing, some random indie band in their car, like they're going to be even more shocked and wowed
Yep.
versus somebody who's kind of expecting that. Um, so that's really cool. And in a lot of our shows that we have played have always been somewhat mixed. That's what we try to go for first. And like we've played, it was either like an all metal crowd, all hardcore crowd, all like crust punk crowd, and then like a mix of all those, obviously, and it always works out too, and you get a lot of difference in the participation as well. There'll
Yeah.
be like kids like hardcore dancing or something, and then like on the other side, there's people push pitting, and they're having fun. That's all I care about. Uh, so it's cool to see a lot of different things happening at once instead of just like one big thing.
yeah.
Yep.
But even when you go to a show where it is just that one thing, that's still pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I think too, like even if you pulled one person from that crowd that maybe had never heard music like your band before, it's worth it in that sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The same reason that you might be like, "Hey, I like this indie band. Like they're
yeah,
really good." My Spotify playlist is out of this world.
yeah,
It's completely attention deficit, and you could have a Christmas song, and then you could have Foster the People, and then you could have
yeah,
Immortal
yeah. That's
Nice.
Despair.
exactly how mine is
You know what I
too.
mean?
Right.
So
Like I have to listen to different stuff of all type. Like I can't like snob my way into like one genre and be satisfied with that. I used to actually kind of be like that as a kid, but
right,
then
right.
as I grew up, I'm like, holy shit, there's so much out there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think I give out anybody the credit that whatever your art may be, maybe not even music, maybe you're a
Mm-hmm.
painter or but did graphic digital
Yeah.
design art, right?
Mm-hmm.
We could talk about that with you too, but it takes a lot.
Yeah, totally.
Appreciate all of it.
Yeah. I'll go from listening to Cannibal Corpse to the Cranberries back to like some typo
Hey,
negative. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. We were just talking about typo negative earlier.
Oh, that's like our bass's like favorite thing. I think
Really?
he had like a story, something to do with like that box set vinyl that came out.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I think he said something where he got like two copies of the same vinyl, something along those lines.
Oh no.
But I just know that like that vinyl in general was like it was like a big deal for that band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a buddy of mine, actually Sean, Josh Eatman just shared he had Bloody Kisses. I think he was playing on his I don't know what you guys call, like Sean does it too, to where you like you'll spin a record and like I see it on Twitch too actually. People will spin a record and just kind of like leave it up there for you to see and
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, at the turntable.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I never got into vinyl because I'm afraid I'll get too deep into it, and then it's just like I spent like
Yeah.
$3,000 on records.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do
Right.
it.
Yeah,
I
Sean's
think
gotten some good ones lately.
I think I would treat it more as like I would only get records of like the bands that like are like all time favorites, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get like press number 3 gold splatter of just
Yeah.
some
Right.
random record.
I think that's where I went wrong. I just kind of started buying everything, and like my friend told me about an app called Discogs, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you can
uh,
put in everything you have in there." It's like your collection is valued at $10,000. Like, dude,
yeah,
no.
Right. Right. Reality on how broke you are now.
Yeah, yeah. Time to get some boxes and eBay that shit.
yep, yeah. I actually had to do that with. Uh, I'll show my nerd side here. I used to collect Funko Pops like crazy, and I dove in. I started just buying everything I had some sort of like nostalgic tie into, and then I'll have like 300 of them later. I'm like, I don't need these, so
Right.
they're going to eBay.
It
What is that? I don't know what that is.
So they're like little like vinyl figures, and they have like the black eyes. They're like of characters.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I have seen them.
you'll see them at
Okay.
like Hot Topic. That's like their big seller now, or everywhere has them pretty much now. But I mean, there is like a market. Like some of them are worth like one figure is worth like $10,000.
No
holy
shit. Yeah,
shit.
that's cool.
But I mean, it's just like vinyl. Like I guess anything collectible
Yeah,
or some sort of
yeah.
hobby, there's always some sort of like
It's
that's like the
Oh
other
yeah.
side. That's the dark side of
yeah.
hobbies, I guess.
Like
Yeah.
when I start looking for like obscure vinyl, like Poison the Well, The Opposite, in
Mm-hmm.
December, like old stuff like that, you can spend like $75 to $300 on a vinyl. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I got this for $7 back in 2003. What the hell?
Yeah.
Right.
And the funny thing is, they'll probably release that in the next year or so. I bet
Yeah,
for
yeah,
probably
they'll
like $30.
re-release it. That happened
Yeah.
to me with It Dies Today. I spent like $70 to get the Chain of Fire, and then like, oh yeah, we're gonna re-release it in 3 months. Like, fuck, won't do that again.
I kind of did that too with the old band shirts. Um, growing up, I mean, I would say with our age group, we got really lucky with like band merch.
Yeah.
And now it's a lot of those were worth some money, and even if they were kind of like beat up or they had some pit stains, like a little bit, like
Right.
somebody's still gonna be like, I'll give you $50 for that. And I'll be like,
Right.
I don't wear size small anymore. Like, here you go.
Yeah. So did you go to the shirt store in the mall?
Oh, t-shirt place.
Yeah.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
that's where I would go and spend like my like school like school clothes. Like
Oh yeah.
I'd go to the t-shirt place and I'd get a couple shirts, and then that's where like majority of like the CDs I got, and
Yeah.
that's how I checked out like music of that extreme.
Yeah.
Because I kind of like dove into like metal and hardcore, I guess. I remember staying up late real night one night. I was trying to get on that, late night HBO adult entertainment as a kid.
Yeah,
And then
right.
I'd like flip through the channels if I hear my parents walking by or something.
Yeah.
And then I landed on Headbangers Ball,
HBO
and
real
I was like,
sex.
what? I was like, what the fuck is this? And that went down one hole to another, and then obviously the rise of like MySpace and like LiveJournal and Pure Volume. I kept
Yeah.
finding I knew new metal because of like I had older brothers. It was a lot of punk music, new metal, and then ICP was like the big three.
Yes.
And um and then I started discovering that, and then I would go to the mall and I can be like, I can get these CDs here. And yeah, that's kind of like, yeah, T-shirt place was awesome. And
Oh
it
man.
was it was a gateway for like a lot of kids too in the area. Like
Oh
that
yeah,
place ruled.
yeah. They
Yeah.
they
I
even got a couple bands in there at one time. Like Bleeding
Mm-hmm.
Through came by and signed autographs and shit.
Yeah, I was really into Haste the Day at one point, and they stopped by there too, and I think they came with From First to Last and
Oh wow.
um He Is Legend.
oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember getting in line, and because I got the old Haste the Day like EP from that store, and that was, I mean, you'd have to go to like a show in Indiana or something, and I was like 15 or 16. I
Yep.
So yeah, that was a cool place.
Yeah, I miss that place, man. I was telling Sean today because he was talking about he was at the record store earlier today, and I said Rock of Ages still has like a huge shirt. I don't know if you've ever been there,
Mm-hmm.
but they have a massive amount of shirts still and old CDs, and I mean it's still a decent place to go check out.
Yeah, that's funny you mentioned that because today I was kind of like, I had some downtime at work and I was just skimming through Facebook, and in Trenton there's a place called Slick Disc.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they were posting like they were just like, we just got a huge trade in of all these CDs, and they said like metal and hardcore and this and that, and I'm like, I remember you guys used to only carry like Kiss, like
yeah,
and
right.
that type of
Uh,
stuff.
I,
Like
that's
I was
actually
like,
what I was doing today.
yeah. That was Sean. He went and bought those CDs you're referring to.
Yep.
oh, you went to Slick this today?
Yep.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, nice. That's wow, small world.
Yeah, yeah, man. That I it's crazy. I usually go in there and they'll have like Nat King Cole and like you said, Kiss in the U section, and
Yeah.
he's like, dude, we finally got a good metal collection in, and yeah, I found some good ones. Like, and half of them were unopened, and I'm like, what kind?
Wow.
Like, wow, like Darkest Hour, like a Sadist Nation,
Wow. Yeah.
and like going all the way back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's some gold right there. Whatever. That's a great record too.
yeah,
Yeah, we need more stores like that. That's
yeah,
what
yeah,
we were talking about, honestly. I was on my way home from work and I t told Sean, I'm like, that's he was mentioned Dearborn Music and
Mhm.
Slick Disc, Rock of Ages. I'm like, we need more of that, you know?
Yeah. There. I know there's a few more north, but like in our general area, yeah, I think those are like the big three, and it'd be cool to see some more for sure. Uh,
Definitely.
and drive up that competition a little bit. I mean, I'm glad they're still around because I for sure thought Slick Disc was not gonna make it. Like
same,
once
yeah,
streaming and like
Right.
that started kind of entering the picture, and then
yeah,
I think vinyl really saved a
yeah.
lot of stores.
Vinyl saved them. Yeah,
Because even if you go to like big box stores now, like Target, like they have a whole vinyl row, and
Yeah.
I worked at Target in like 2010, 11, and they still had CDs that nobody was buying.
Right.
And like, yeah, vinyl came in hard, and yeah, vinyl for sure saved like a bunch of stores.
Yeah, it's I just seen vinyl at Meyer the other day. It's funny you say that. It was like a Taylor Swift or something. Taylor Swift
Yeah,
vinyl.
yeah, it'll be like those kind of artists, but
Right.
they're definitely cashing in on the popularity of vinyl.
Oh yeah. Well, you have a lot of variety too with vinyl, like as far as like we were saying, the splatter
Mm-hmm.
finish, or it's a, like a see-through record or something, to where, CDs or well, you're kind of limited, or cassettes come back too,
Yeah,
actually.
we actually made our last album and both demos as cassettes,
Did
and
you?
we did like a limited run, and yeah, like I don't think anybody's truly listening to them, but they're buying them.
Huh. I want one.
Yeah, for sure. I think we still have quite a few. I could probably send you some.
Yeah. I want to pick up one of those old, like the old Casio radio, like, like on my
Yeah.
shoulder. And I'm not that old. I wasn't like dribbling a basketball with the radio on my shoulder and shit, uh but just to be able to jam the cassette.
Yeah,
I,
that would be pretty interesting to kind of hear that like quality of a cassette versus something I could just plug in like headphones into and press play on
Yeah.
Spotify, because you definitely do get like a little bit more, like I'm sure it probably sounds a little bit more raw and like a little more rough around the edges.
Yeah.
um so that would be pretty cool to kind of hear that. And but I the reason why we did them too is obviously they're like more popular, people were like requesting them, but it kind of went back to like that collector's thing, because like
Yes.
we did like only 25 of each, but we're gonna do all the tapes are like colored, like our second demo was like very pink and blue color scheme.
Yeah. I've
so
I've
like
jammed
so
a lot
like
of that too. That was good.
yeah, the cassette itself is I think it's pink. It's all pink, or it's either all pink or electric blue. So like, it's we're on that collector's thing too now that
Yeah,
we
that is cool though. Because
yeah.
even for you, I'm sure at least I imagine you keep some of your band stuff just
Yeah.
for,
Yeah. Yeah, I
the
try to
collectible
keep
thing.
this band's, we definitely have like actual like vinyl CD, or we didn't do CDs for this one. But yeah, we did a 7-inch vinyl and then the cassettes. So I'm at least keeping one of those. And
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've never done a vinyl before. It's pretty cool to see. And
Yeah.
we did like a gold translucent 7-inch to kind of go with the color scheme. Um,
Yeah.
but the cool thing with those too is there's a lot more like creative freedoms too versus just like a disc. And like,
Yeah, that's
because
what
with
I'm saying.
CDs it was all about the booklet, and
Yeah.
that's about it. But with like vinyls and cassette, you can at least go beyond that and have like a custom, you know, vinyl or the tape or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. You had me thinking of something there. You mentioned something about, so did they press it here in Michigan or?
So we did that. We did the first demo on vinyl or 7-inch vinyl, and I don't think it was pressed in Michigan because at that time it was either, I think it was after like like the United States officially closed down during COVID.
Oh, yeah.
So it was hard to get. I think we had to get it pressed. We did everything separately. So we got the vinyl pressed, I think in like Indiana was like the cheapest and most least turnaround. Um, we got like all the sleeves done somewhere else, and then we got all the artwork done somewhere else, and we had to have it all shipped, and had to put them all together ourselves. Um,
Cool
yeah,
though. Yeah.
we would like to keep it in Michigan, but at that time,
Yeah.
I think for anything, it was just
Yeah.
out of the question, and you had to get wherever you even could. I mean, it was like toilet paper. Like
Right. No more
if
than
you,
five people.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Stay in your house.
they were on back order for a long time with
yeah,
after COVID. Like even like Roadrunner and like major labels, they uh, I, I ordered I ordered an album. It took a year to get to my house.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. I remember
oh
hearing
yeah,
about
I think
that.
I remember ordering that.
Right. They already got like half a new album out.
Right.
and then
Like, damn it, I gotta order another one now.
and then when things were kind of, I guess, like getting back to normal, the vinyl kind of I mean, everybody being stuck in their house, they probably discovered vinyl. More people got into it. And I think there was that thing about Taylor Swift's albums where she was doing them all on vinyl, and that made like the whole entire industry like go
Dude,
backwards again.
Right.
at
And
Slick Disc,
it just screwed, like nobody could get vinyl because like Taylor Swift took it all.
right at Slick Disc,
That's
they
crazy.
had a Taylor Swift day, and I drove past there, and it was like a line to Best Buy on Black Friday. I'm like, holy shit, those are all Swifties. Holy shit.
It's so funny that I don't know why, but Taylor Swift is like my reference for anything like oh great, now she took all the vinyl. She you know, when we have a low what's that called where you're not supposed to run your lawnmower in the summertime,
Oh.
you know, and I'm like, yeah, but she's on her jet flying to see her boyfriend play and
Oh
you know,
yeah,
how much emissions is that, you know? Sorry, Taylor Swift. I'm sure she's tuned in as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've listened to a Taylor Swift song or two, just kind of like
Oh,
on the
oh yeah.
radio.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I won't lie. I mean, what I heard was a hit. Like,
Oh
obviously, I
yeah.
mean,
She
it's a
can write
super
songs, no doubt.
any super produced pop song is gonna probably sound really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anything else beyond that, and just like word of mouth from the internet and stuff.
Dude, I have three girls, 17,
Ah,
14, and
yeah.
9.
So you're probably
I
deep
know
into
every Taylor
He's
Swift
heard them.
song.
it.
Megan Trainor, Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
That
Who's the new one now that's pretty good? Olivia Rodrigo.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Couple hits. Couple hits.
Yeah. I like and that genre too, but like Lana Del Rey. I like her
Oh yeah,
stuff and
that's a good one.
yeah, I actually want to cover one of her songs. I don't want to say what it is just in case I do it. I try to talk Tim to collab with me and
That'd be
get
an
him on some
interesting
keys
pick.
or something.
I hope it's the one that says like uh tastes like tastes like Pepsi Cola or something.
I don't think it is, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, so you'd mentioned to me that you were doing some help with booking bands at
Oh
Crossroads
yeah.
venue.
Yeah, so that's kind of a funny story.
What time
So
frame would this be like as far because I don't I feel like I heard of that place,
I could
but
actually
I was out of
so
the loop then.
it was kind of a place already. Um but it was just kind of it was on Eastern Michigan's campus. It was kind of like a college bar, and then kind of had like a little stage for whoever to play at. Nothing. It wasn't like Mr. Muggs or anything.
Okay.
Um, they had like a kitchen and a bar. Actually, the Instagram's still up. So we kind of so that was after the band I was in called Downcast kind of like officially split up, and um Greg, you, you guys know Greg. Um,
McCoy?
he played bass, and
Oh yeah.
he was out in Ypsilanti. And we kind of like teamed up, and Ypsilanti people as a whole love music, and no matter what you book or like do it yourself, like they always show up, no matter what it is. And so there was definitely like a good team there, and um, everybody kind of like lived in like one apartment downtown there in Ypsilanti. And, we had like a sound guy. We had, myself doing like the flyers and kind of like anything art related or promotion on social media. And Greg did sounds. And they kind of knew like people at Crossroads, and they were wanting to like kind of walk away, and they sold it to somebody else. So it was like a whole new group of people who owned it. And they were like, hey, if you guys want to do your thing here, go for it. So we put in like a whole new sound system. It was like, top of the line. Um, we were booking, you know, hardcore metal, indie. We had somebody from Adult Swim there.
That's cool.
That was I think we started that, it looks like 2016. And It lasted for a little bit. I think it was only until 2017-ish where the people that took it over, they were going to sell it back to the old owner. So then it kind of, and then the old owner wanted to change everything and then kind of like pushed up the music side out. But while it lasted, it was super fun. And it kind of gave you a true appreciation for somebody who books shows like all the
I was going to
time
ask you that,
or
how it
like
felt to
run
be on the other side.
venues. Yeah. So you definitely learn a lot. I was kind of like trying to learn how to do sound a little bit. It never really stuck with me. Because even that alone is like now because of that experience, if I play a show and it's like a bad sound guy, it really sticks out now.
Right.
And you kind of want to be like walk over there and be like, hey, let me like do this and that. But when you
Yeah.
hear like a good sound guy, you're like, he knows his shit. You're like you understand. And
Yep.
um yeah, that was really cool. One of the we were kind of working up, we were, selling out shows often. We kind of because it helped that it was like college kids too. So they would just come in just for the beer and watch whomever was playing. And it really helped like a lot of touring artists. It was getting to a point where we even almost got Stitches there. If you remember Stitches,
Huh?
he was kind of like on my not on MySpace, like a he started out as like a YouTube. He got famous on YouTube. He was a rapper. God, what's that song? Uh, I did Coke with Molly Cyrus or something.
I think I do
I
know what you're
threw I
talking
threw a
about.
brick in your face,
Yeah.
and he has like the Joker tattoo on his.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, now
we
I
almost
know.
got
Yeah.
him to play there, but he we got like some sort of message. I think it was God who it was like the some dude in Detroit, and he was like, "Hey, if he like touches down in Michigan, like it's on site, he's gonna get killed."
Oh no.
Holy
So we were
shit.
like, "Okay, we can't do this show anymore."
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to die.
Yeah, because it
Yeah.
was like a legit thing. Like
Yeah.
it happens often.
Right. The threat was real.
Yeah, it was real, and
Pull out, pull out.
I mean, that
That's
happened a
crazy.
lot anyway in Ypsilanti to begin with. Like when you pat people down at the doors, there's like the amount of guns that we had to take away was crazy.
Really.
Um, so I mean, Ypsilanti's rough. Like there's some rough parts to it,
Yeah.
and so it didn't get out of hand too much, but it was fun. It was for sure fun, and we got the book. I think we booked like when See You Next Tuesday was like starting to come back, and they kind of like wasn't as full time as they are now, but they would play like one or two shows here and there.
Hmm.
We got them to play there. That was really cool to
Yeah, that's
see.
cool.
Those guys were
Um,
always so nice to us. Like when we
oh
played with
yeah,
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
yeah, they were you know coolest dudes ever. Easy to work with. They liked it. They had a night, and yeah, that was probably one of the bigger shows that we did for sure. I
Yeah, that's
there was there was another huge rapper that's like escaping me. I think he was going to play at like the Convocation Center at Eastern, but then he was going to do like a sideshow at Crossroads because it's like a block away.
yeah.
I can't remember. It's somebody huge. Like nowadays, they're like massive. I can't remember the name. I'd have to like dig through old messages and stuff to kind of
Right.
remember that. But I mean, that was I memory's hard at that point too because I was in college, so I was probably drinking a lot too,
Right.
and
Right. Just yeah. The
it worked out for me too
short-term memory loss.
because I went to Eastern, so it was like I would just stay out. I'd wake up. I worked out there too, so I woke up, went to work, went to school, went to shows every night,
Yeah, that's awesome.
and so,
That's sweet.
but Ipsy's really cool, and I owe a lot to Ypsilanti too. So
Yeah, we Sean and I had a mutual friend that they lived in Ipsy, and their band lived in the same house. And
Mm,
Greg knows them as well, actually. But I want to say that, and I didn't realize it then, but they're like, dude, our street was horrible. Like people broke
yeah.
into cars all the time, and I was like,
Mm,
really? I'm like, I didn't remember at all. I knew it was like, I think you took like 94 West, and you got off at like Michigan Avenue or
mm,
something. It was it was up that way, but
yeah. Yeah. It's getting fixed a little bit. There's even like a new venue over that way
oh,
called the Regal Beagle. It's like a barbecue joint slash venue, super small. But we played there a few times and it was, perfectly fine. No trouble. The venue is awesome. The people who run that are awesome. The barbecue is like the die for. It's like actual
that's cool.
barbecue too. It's not like Famous Dave's or something.
Yeah, I wonder if funny you say that because the same guy that I'm talking about that had the band house, he does landscaping, he does like
Mhm.
commercial window cleaning, and I swear he gets barbecue from a place up that way. I wonder if
That's
it's
got to
that.
be it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
it's
cool.
it's very it's like a punk venue, like punk barbecue venue. So it's like the real deal. So yeah, I'm pretty sure there's some sort of involvement there.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
hitting up DoorDash right now. I'm fucking
Yeah.
starving.
It's good. Like I kind of miss playing there because like they'd give you like a drink ticket and then they would be like what food do you want, and I'd get like the brisket every time, and they would be like they when you pull up and you're loading your gear, they're smoking it for the next day like already, so it
Oh
smells
yeah.
good. And
Yeah.
it's like, so when you think of like a punk venue, it's like kind of dark, dingy, like stickers everywhere,
Yeah.
toilets broken. It
Yeah.
still has that vibe, but it's like a professional barbecue, like smoke pit outside. It's kind of funny, but it's perfect if you're like if you're like vegan or vegetarian or something. Maybe not, but
Right.
for the people who'd like the meat, like it's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's awesome. Isn't it funny though, like that just talking about like those venues like that too, like that have that feel. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't know, there's something about that feel that just never goes away, even if you haven't been to it in a long time. Like,
There was a funny video I came across on TikTok where somebody remodeled their home bathroom to like look like a venue bathroom. Like they broke the mirror, there's stickers everywhere,
that's a
and
great idea.
they're like bringing the venue to home. And I was like, oh my god, it's
Yeah.
funny that it's like an aesthetic now.
Yeah, for sure. So, Downcast, who was in Downcast? So you and Greg.
Yeah, so Greg was the second bass player that we had. Initially, the original lineup was myself, um, Alex, Adams, Lyric, Chambers, Sky, Goen, and Brian Williams on bass.
Okay.
Um,
Any relatable bands that any of them were?
yeah, for sure. So Alex and Lyric were, this was like well after Downcast. They ended up starting D Block, and Lyric's still in D Block, and they're making moves. They're blowing up. They're
Nice.
huge. Good. Like it's phenomenal for them. Um, they're doing a lot. And Sky, I don't think he did anything. He's like a bodybuilder now, and I ran into him not too long ago, and he was. I remember him. He was like a small dude and kind of thin. Now he's like a dude. He's massive. He's jacked.
Right.
Uh,
Everybody's doing that but me. I'm like,
yeah,
they
like
see
I
me,
I
they're
wouldn't
like,
do
okay, he's
that.
bigger, but
Dude,
not in
e-
that kind of way.
even
Yeah,
even Candace from Walls of Jericho, she's on
Yeah,
YouTube.
she got
yeah.
ripped.
Dude, she
Yeah.
gained
We
like 400 pounds. Like, holy shit.
we got to play with them when they played it with Bleeding Through at the Crowfoot,
Oh yeah.
and we kind of made a joke. We're like, they need to be called like Walls of Cardio because they were a band that like did not stop moving.
Yeah.
And
She's always been that way, I feel
Oh
oh
like,
my
yeah,
man.
god.
dude. She's a nut. When
Yeah.
she bounces around like a jackrabbit on
Yeah.
stage, dude.
But that made it fun. Like, I mean, based on like the conversation earlier, like I was having an awesome time watching them. Like they were really into it, and they're fast too. They got some riffs,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and she matched that movement with like that speed that they were playing too. So it was like extra fun to watch.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's that like Walls of Jericho like is that Hellfest vibe. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, yeah, I love
yeah.
that band.
yeah.
Even like obviously the early stuff, the um I don't even know the names of the songs, but uh everything like the Trust Kill, there was that Trust Kill
Hmm.
demo that had them on it and but they kill it. I think I seen them at Ozfest one year in Michigan. I think they played, it was a festival. It was either Ozfest or like Mayhem or something.
Maybe Dirt Fest.
No, it was at DTE. It was at Pine
Oh,
Island. They played on a second stage. Like I saw Bury Your Dead.
did
Um,
Sounds of the Underground ever play there? At, or was that always somewhere
maybe.
else?
Didn't you go to that, Sean?
Sound no.
Did you go to the DTE when I think who all was there? It was Bury Your Dead. Kill Switch I think played second stage. I feel
Mayhem,
like it was an Ozfest.
mayhem.
But anyway, they got to play it. I think
Mm.
because it was their home state, you know,
Yeah,
but deserving too. They
yeah,
uh
they're playing more often too, and they just announced that they're
I
going to play at
saw
the shelter, and Sean's other
October,
band
right?
is playing that. Yeah, later this year.
Yeah,
Um,
that'll be good.
Sean's other band, Escalation of Force, is going to be opening
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah, so
Yep, I saw that band on that bill. You guys would fit good on that bill, I think.
yeah, we tried reaching out to play. Um, what's that one in Flint? The Machine Shop.
Yeah,
They played there. We tried reaching out. Obviously, like we weren't expecting an answer or anything because it's kind of like way out of the um, target area.
right,
Like we
right,
probably wouldn't be able to draw anybody or sell tickets. Maybe a handful who would drive up there, but
right, right.
usually they try to pick people closer to the venue. But yeah, we're trying to get on more kind of like metalcore-ish shows, or the one that we did with like Bleeding Through, like that did very well for us because we kind of like fit in a little bit better than some
Yeah,
of the shows that we did. So yeah, every now and then we'll try to reach out and see if we can get on something.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Hell yeah. I don't think I've ever seen Bleeding Through. I love that band though. I know Sean and
Yeah,
I watched the shit out of that DVD that they had where he was like the barrel roll
At the
king, man.
yeah,
yeah, at the glass
He did
house.
that.
Did he?
Yeah, yeah, he still does that.
I followed him. I still do his like fitness rise
Mm,
above. I was watching a lot of that stuff for a long time. He's went like you said from somebody that's been small. Like I seen him with 18 Visions at that Mr. Mugg show.
mm,
He was still the guitarist and he was just a little skinny guy and then bam, it's just
yeah,
a beast.
yeah, he definitely is now for sure. And he's like another one too, where like it's just energy nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And seeing them play, even though they have some like newer members, the people who are still since the beginning, like they were all like it's like they never missed a beat.
Yeah, I like it. Even the new stuff, like I listened to some of that last stuff they released. I'm like, this is good stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I really like Bleeding Through too, and I have like some Bleeding Through tattoos, and um uh I, I think one of the newer songs I didn't vibe with. It didn't.
Was it the very last one they released where he's got like a chant kind of in it?
Um,
Because I think I know what you're talking about.
I think it was.
Okay, here I talked him up. Now we're gonna be like, but this song we
Yeah,
didn't
I
like.
know they're releasing like a new album. I haven't
Yeah,
heard
there was one
anything.
in it where I swear he kept saying like bleeding through mother effer or something. I was
Yeah,
like,
it was
I don't know
more
about.
like I had to look it up on Spotify. Our brand is Chaos. I think that's it.
Yeah.
It was kind of like or wartime. It's one of
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, I don't
Those
like. Yeah,
go ahead, Sean. Sorry about
I
that.
don't like those Sabaton type chants that it gets me like this has been like you're beating a dead horse at this point. But um
Yeah, when they make songs where they're like riffing and they um those are great. That one album that they did where they kind of like came back again.
Yeah.
Um
Like a few years
God.
ago.
Yeah. Fade into the Ash. That
Yep.
song is awesome.
yeah, I
And
Yeah.
like that
it does
one.
have kind of like a chorusy chant to it, but like it's like perfectly well done. Like
Yeah.
when they play, they play, but when they do like a couple of these like weird kind of like almost like
Oh, yeah, almost,
beatdownish like
Yeah.
chanty stuff, like it doesn't fit them.
yeah,
Like they
yeah.
it doesn't work
It
in my
sounds
opinion.
like it was produced for like Headbangers Ball or like a like a certain demographic of metal listener,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the same guys that listen to like Five Finger Death Punch or Bad Wolves. Like
Yeah.
it has moments of that like butt rock metal type
Mhm.
Yeah.
sound to it.
But yeah.
I really thought that those the remakes of those couple songs they did from
Yeah.
they were great, I thought.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
those were awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, even though like all those old songs are like pretty nostalgic for us and like that's like what we grew up with. Even their
Yep.
some of the later songs where they're just it's not as light, I guess, as those.
Yeah.
Um, they just played like straight up metal. Like those songs are pretty good.
Oh
And
yeah.
I feel like those go kind of like underappreciated too, and they kind of get like lost because of their older songs kind of like taking the spotlight all the time.
Yeah. That's the thing about, especially a band that's been around a long time and it's like, all right, here's our set list. It's
Mm-hmm.
one song from, from each album, or if it's every song from one album, you know,
Yeah,
and the fans obviously want to hear those too. So it's like, man, it's kind of hard to squeeze in new material when you're trying to grow as an artist and
yeah,
continue to produce music that you're proud of.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely could see that. Like, I'm sure they're probably like they probably enjoy that. There's like a little bit of like, I mean, they're probably getting a lot more attention they probably than ever have, and they can probably play these like one-off shows where they fly to Tennessee. It's like they get the same payment as if they did like a whole tour. Um,
Right.
I'm sure they're enjoying that a lot.
Yeah.
um, but then at the same time, I'm sure like, damn, we gotta play like on Wings of Lead again. Like,
Right. I'm out there like, yeah.
yeah, he
Yeah.
had all. Yeah, it was funny too because like when we saw them at the Crowfoot, when those songs played, everybody was singing them. But when they
Oh
would
yeah.
play the newer songs, it's like everybody kind of like chilled for a second, or like
Right.
that was
People
like,
are going to the bar at that
yeah,
time. Right.
yeah,
It was
Yeah.
so funny. I
yeah.
went to Trenton State Fair, and an old rock band, Sponge, their local band,
Mhm.
uh, they played, and throughout their whole set, people were like chill, like kind of what Matt was saying, and then they started to play Plow. Their known
Yeah.
hit. People went nuts. Like people like yeah, and the singer is just like. It's like what
Didn't
the
Sponge, wasn't their song uh Wax Ecstatic or something? Wasn't that another song by them, Sean?
yeah, that was another hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just kind of had that same experience with. Have you guys ever been to that new venue in Wyandotte?
I
Yeah,
haven't.
yeah,
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool what they do. It's like a miniature Crowfoot almost.
yeah. I just
Okay.
wish they would
Um,
like stop getting so many cover bands.
yeah. I've only been there once, and it was for Alien Ant Farm,
Oh
Oh
yeah.
man,
and
I would have liked
they were
that.
great. They were like he could still sing like his,
Yeah.
he's on
yeah.
top of it. And they were super solid, but it was like another case where like they'd played like their set list, but as soon as they played Smooth Criminal, like the whole
Right.
crowd just went nuts.
You know what's funny, man? And obviously, like that song, a lot of bands do that to where they do their version of well, like Tommy Vex doing the Cranberries song with Bad Wolves, but
Mhm.
I like the movie song better with
Oh,
Alien Ant
movies,
Farm.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
that song is great.
Oh
It's
yeah,
in
yeah, I agree with you. They have some deep cuts too that are
Yeah.
like hits,
yeah.
and obviously you probably have to be like an actual like Alien Ant Farm fan
Yeah, that whole
because
first
like
record's great. I like the
oh
whole
yeah,
the
um,
anthology
They
or
kind of had like
whatever.
a punk rock type of vibe to them, I
mhm.
feel like.
That
It was
and
kind of like how Incubus first started. They were kind of like that like chaotic
Yeah.
punky you know uh sound to it, and Alien Ant Farm's latest record is really good too.
yeah, I like the Last Dance.
Oh, I haven't heard that. I'll have to check that out.
That's
Yeah,
an awesome
it's
song.
pretty good.
Nice.
The,
Give me 1 second, fellas. I'll be right back.
yeah, my DoorDash is almost here. I wasn't joking.
They got from Ypsilanti real quick.
Oh yeah, I wish I could get barbecue. I'm getting pizza from 7-Eleven.
Oh, really? Damn, I didn't know they would deliver that.
Yeah, that and some Corona.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I picked up that Alien Ant Farm album. It's pretty good. I liked it,
Hmm.
and it's one of those bands I kind of forgot about because I listened to so much music like that back then, like bands like Steinshank and Alien Ant Farm and Primer 55 and like
Yeah.
oh my god, the list goes on and on. But yeah, I forgot how good that first album was, and last year I sat down and listened to it. I'm like, shit, that was a really good album.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's, like you said, there's a lot of like good albums like that from other bands. And, you kind of get so caught up in like the newer stuff. You remember like the nostalgic hits, but as full records, like they're phenomenal and they deserve that like full listen.
Yeah, because it's a rare thing to like sit down and listen to a record and the whole thing
Mhm.
is good. Like if a band is lucky, they can produce one of those in their whole career. Then there's some sickos out there that have a whole career where they didn't haven't released one bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
Like remembering never.
I was gonna say remembering never. That's crazy that you bring them up.
When that comes up, my example is CKY's album
Oh yeah.
Infiltrate, Destroy, Rebuild.
Yeah.
Um that record's pretty flawless, start to end.
Yep.
And I mean, I think that's, obviously they have other hits, but like as a full record, like that one I can listen to front to back anytime, any day.
Which one
Yep.
was that?
Um, it's their second infiltrate or yeah, infiltrate, destroy, rebuild.
Okay, I'll have to go back and listen to that. Like Nat and I used to watch all the CKY videos back in the day, but
Yeah.
I never did like a deep dive on their music or
Yeah,
any of that
they
stuff.
they kind of had that thing where it was like I think their first record was just like a compilation of a bunch of singles, and obviously the '96 Quite Bitter Beings is like the Tony Hawk song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's that's like a meme now.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the actual like I guess record um after that is it's pretty good. Another good example too is that I kind of did a deep dive back on was Thrice.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
But they released record after record of just good
Yeah.
stuff. But Artist in the Ambulance specifically, like that's a amazing record front to back, and it's pretty heavy too. Like they're playing breakdowns and stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Even
Yeah,
their
man, there's
soft.
so much good music
Yeah.
from that whole to the past decade.
Yeah, and I feel like that we probably won't get that again for a while, but I feel like that was the time where it was like there was so much experimentation and just crossover
Yeah,
where,
Yeah.
it, if you ask anybody who grew up in that time, they can name 10 albums right off rip. But like nowadays they're like, uh, you know, maybe this and that, a single. It's not
right.
like,
Yeah, I miss those bands like I don't know if you've heard of Legia. They kind of
mhm,
sounded like Poison
Oh yeah,
Well slash Bury Your Dead. They kind of went back and forth. I always thought
mhm,
that was cool when, like, even Remembering Never, that they would have this brutal section, but then they would introduce melody and then
yeah.
slowly transfer it back into something like just chaotic. I'm like, I love when bands did that.
yeah. I'm a huge fan of melody in songs, even if it's like I'm a big Black Dahlia Murder fan too,
Yeah.
which is definitely melodic death metal or whatever you want to call it. But I have to have it. Even when I write something, even if it was the most deathcore thing I'd write, I still tend to be trying to do some kind of alternate picking. You
Yeah.
know, it probably dates me to an extent, but that's all right.
Yeah, we with our second demo under Wheel Rot, we tried doing a little bit more melody too, and um even in the first one there's a song that definitely is like a chorusy sing along part,
Yeah,
because we were pretty inspired by like It Dies Today.
Hell
um
yeah.
yeah,
and you can, obviously with
yeah.
them
We
they
love It
have,
Dies Today, dude.
yeah.
I told you that first time I heard your stuff. I was like,
Yeah,
oh man,
yeah.
you know what it was though? It was like I the demo with the purple. What is that called?
um
Or was that
it's
just a
just it's just
single?
it's just self-titled, yeah.
Yeah, that there was a breakdown in one of those where you do those guitar like the guitar chops in it where they stop dun
Yep.
dun dun dun, dun and I was like, oh man. I'm like, this is the shit.
Yeah, we still play one of those songs in our set list, and we don't really name ours, like we don't say the name of our songs like on the set list, like
Oh,
that
that's a good
song,
idea.
like when we play that song, we're just like, okay, we're about to play like the It Dies Today song. Like it's just for
Right.
us. Like I'm not gonna say that to the crowd or anything,
Right.
but yeah, like obviously that was like a big inspiration for that record, and then we kind of like dialed it back to be a little bit more harder and aggressive because I think that's where, like we still have some melody for sure, but not as much.
Yeah. I I don't know though. I think you do without it being melody. Does that make
mm,
sense? Like, I don't know. I feel like it's there.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
lots of bands use ambiance these days instead of guitar notes. They'll put like some synth in the background or like Spirit Box does that a lot. But he also
Yeah,
plays
it's just
guitar
like
notes
a
too.
loop effect of sound or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
yeah. We did that on that our song Roman Collar, because it's that song is like took a lot of like black metal influence.
Yeah.
So we were obviously like, let's get the church choir,
Yeah, I heard it. That's on the
backdrops.
newest stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah, I was listening to it yesterday, actually.
yeah. Because like as a whole, like Adam's doing like the traditional like black metal blast.
Yeah,
Sean's doing that like it sounds like it's fast picking, but it's just kind of just basic, just like
yeah.
because black metal is kind of like, it sounds like they're, well, like older black metal. It sounds like they're playing super fast, but they're kind of not.
It's
They're
like
just kind of,
strumming.
Right.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
just like normal speed, but it's just kind of like cheating almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that in deathcore. Like, well, when you'll have like God, what's a band that did it? Suicide Silence. You'll have blast beats, but then it'll just be a dun 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 dun
Yep.
dun. But it sounds
Yeah.
really fast.
We did it in uh when we were called as treacherous as the sea. I don't know if you knew that
Yo, what's up,
portion
Beef?
of us.
Thank you for the raid. How you doing tonight? How's your stream?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
we
what's
get
up?
rated. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and then a little further up in the comments, Cindividual 666, that's a buddy of ours. He was actually in a project that Sean and I were both in back in the day, but look up this individual on like just in your platform, whatever you use. He writes some really cool music. Um, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, what would you call it, Sean?
Yeah, I'll call it like Well, he kind of has a couple different styles, but like I'll call it like experimental electronic music. But it's really unique sounding.
Yeah, sometimes he reminds me of like Maynard in a Perfect Circle, sort of.
Oh
Yeah.
But a little bit more electronic stuff going on. But it's pretty cool. Check it out. And he's a
yeah, I definitely
mortician
will.
by trade, which is cool as shit. So
Yeah.
I think he was talking about actually, we were talking about some band the other day, and he was like, it was ironic because it was like a grotesque I don't know what if it was a death metal band or what, but he was like, it's kind of crazy that I'm a mortician and I'm listening to whatever it was at the time while I'm preparing a body, you know?
Oh God.
Mortician by Mortician. Good
Right.
song.
Right. Yeah. So so you went from Amongst Giants to Downcast. What was the time lapse between the end of Amongst Giants to Downcast?
Quite a while. That was kind of so. I guess Amongst Giants would be like the end of the Modern Exchange era.
Yeah.
um,
I love
so
that place, man.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, it
It
was
got a lot of
sweet.
shit, and you can always talk a lot of shit about it. But in the end, it was a place to play, and that's where you got your
Yeah.
chops.
That
And
was home, man. You know what I
and
mean?
you got to see a lot of like good bands there. I
Oh
don't
Oh
think
yeah,
yeah.
people
yeah.
really realize
Hell,
that.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was the first time I saw Animosity,
Right.
Job for a Cowboy.
Allure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Day Remember played there.
Yeah, it's
Um,
crazy that some of the big bands that have came through
yeah.
and some of the bands that were local that went through that went on to do big things too, you know?
Oh, a lot of them did.
Yeah.
I'd say probably like 85% of the bands that we probably knew and played with and grew up with.
Yeah.
They're probably all in like they're somewhere involved with music at some sort of a extraordinary level.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there was definitely like a big gap because at that point I was just kind of like I was doing that since so I started like my first band. I think I was like 15, and I started playing at the Modern then up until about I think in Amongst Giants I was like 19, 20, and then I just took like a huge gap of time. Just I went to school. I did other things other than music. I did more
Yeah.
design stuff. And then I kind of trying to remember how that started too. Um, I think I just saw like a random like Facebook like or MySpace post where it was just like vocalist wanted, and I was like, oh, it's actually like near me. I
Right.
could just go try out, and that worked out. That was fun. That was for a couple years. I even think you did like a small stint in it, if
Yeah,
I
yeah, I did.
remember.
I tried out. I think I wasn't what you guys needed, you know, looking back. Like I
Yeah.
wanted to be though. I really liked your music, you know. But
Um, I think that was at the end anyway. So like you didn't miss
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Like I think we ended and like that next month. Um,
Yeah, because
um,
I remember what was your guitar player's name? I forgot.
uh, Aaron would be,
Yeah, Aaron.
yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
uh and then your drummer I kept up with even after um we had went on and you guys were playing and we were
Hmm.
playing in OBTB and stuff, but they were you had a group of good guys in that band for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. What was kind of crazy with that too is like they were just like normal dudes who just knew how to play stuff,
Yeah.
and they really liked like Parkway Drive.
Yeah.
Um, but like yeah, they weren't. That was like their first musical band, anything to do with music. Uh, and then even when that ended, like they all stopped. I think
Really?
Evan the drummer, did some things here and there, but yeah, as a whole, like they did nothing musically wise like after that. I think Aaron
Oh,
did some rapping. Like I think I remember him
really?
rapping for a little bit. Yeah, like he was actually like really good. It's just
Really?
like
I didn't know that.
it's just another example of like how they were just like musically inclined and like gifted, but they never really did anything
Right, just kind of
afterwards.
dabbled and
Yeah,
yeah,
and it was fun. We were young, and between that and Downcast, yeah, it was quite a few years, and then Downcast kind of started uh, with Alex and Lyric, and I knew Alex for a long time, and just from going to shows together. And he's just like, hey, I'm in Flat Rock. I know you're close. You want to come jam? And I'm sure. And that kind of, that was my first kind of like hardcore band, or that leaned more on the hardcore side.
yeah,
So it was like new and exciting for me. We were a little bit more heavier hardcore, and at that time, hardcore was more about like the fast,
right.
almost like youth crew style. So
Yeah,
it was kind of like, and now it's like vice versa. Like everybody's into like the heavy, beat
yeah,
down hardcore.
Yeah.
Um, so it was kind of like awkward at the time, but it was fun. Like we got to do a lot, and it was playing to like a whole new style, whole new people. Um, but I think with every act, there's always been kind of like a little bit of a gap of time. At least
yeah, for
like
sure.
I'd say like 3 5 years maybe each in between each.
Shit, man, I tell you. So OBTB, I think Sean left first, and and honestly, like the OBTB the last version of it had already been morphed, you know,
Mm-hmm.
5 times from other things, but and then so then he left, and then I shortly left after that. It had to have been what, 2010 or 11,
Yeah.
Sean?
Like 2010. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think you came back and played like a final show at Rack and Roll or something. Sorry, I'm looking at your over on my screen, not at the camera.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I did. I
No,
think I
well
think
they got that other guy. I forgot his name.
Scott.
And he played a show, but so from that until this Whisper the Witch, which we could talk about you designing the art for my
Mm-hmm.
project, Whisper the Witch, Trevor.
Yeah.
Um, Big
Oh,
gap in time though, like you said, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
15 years for me.
Um, yeah. I was just like thinking about like our brother the butcher and stuff, and we played together like a ton,
Oh yeah.
and I kind of remembered some of the. I think we played together a lot. It was either at the Modern,
Yeah.
or it was always at the Hayloft in Mount Clemens.
Yeah, we played I think we only played Hayloft once though. But
Um,
we definitely played the modern, and then like I reached out to you not long ago because I was talking about the show what the heck was I talking about? We played Skateland West for something.
oh God, yeah, I forgot
Oh
about that
yeah, I
place.
forgot about that.
We played there a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that place. I like those venues. Like I said, that's those, you know, the nostalgic, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Skateland West has its own history too. Like it was just like
Yeah.
the Modern, but it's
Yeah.
more for like the Westland kind of Garden City kids.
Yeah, because we
Um,
used to have like remember like well, and you know this probably from the Dweller reunion too, like Die Strong and
yeah,
like I don't know where those guys were from, but I thought they were out that way or
yeah,
more
I
known.
think around that area for sure.
Yeah. It was funny,
Um,
like you knew those staple bands that came in all the time and had their own like kind of group, you know.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
hanging
there
out in the
were.
back room in the garage. It'd be cold as shit back there.
Yeah.
At the modern, I mean.
Um, yeah, it was kind of like divided up of like, I guess the South would be the modern, North would be like White Lake area,
Yeah.
because that was like Fatal Fired and when they were turning into How Followed With.
Hmm.
Um, Die Strong would be the West. And
Yeah.
then kind of sprinkled in like wherever. Um, once we were buried,
Yeah.
I
They
guess
were
I
from
guess
that
that
area
I
too,
guess
I
that would
think.
be True West because they were like Jackson.
Yeah. I just talked to Wes the other day and he was like, dude, he's like, we were practicing 3 times a week and
Holy
I would
shit.
he's like and I would have to drive out there. He's like and I didn't have like no real like solid job to do it. He's
Yeah,
like we were playing all kinds of shows so I couldn't keep a solid job.
right.
And he's like so I'd be like, dudes, can you like throw me $5 just so I can get back home and stuff? And he goes, I think that kind of turned the band possibly a little bit, but it's just the
They
way
were
it was
huge
though.
though. They were
Yeah,
they
yeah,
were
they
real
did.
big.
Yeah, they did. He talks about touring and stuff and Tim does too. It's so funny just to hear Tim like the story I always tell is like Tim said they were in like Texas and he woke up and his like belly button was full of sweat. He's like sleeping in the van. I'm like, "Oh, dude." I'm like, "Maybe there's a reason I never toured."
did he tell you about doing the gas station crack? Yeah, they used to sell. God, it starts with a S. Um, but it's almost like a hallucinate. Yo, what's up?
Oh,
What's up? I had.
Hey, thanks everybody for coming in to
Thank you
to
so
uh
much.
to watch us. Trevor is in a band called We Will Rot, and they're pretty killer. You should look him up. And he's been a part of several other projects. We can talk about it too, but the
Violet.
um, the reunion of a band called Dweller that was big in this area too. Um, so we're glad to have him. It's been good. It's been good talking so far. But
yeah,
thanks for everybody for popping in.
Yeah.
that uh that Dweller reunion was pretty fun. Um,
Oh, I bet.
it was a cool opportunity. Like, I mean, I mean, that's just like another band where we like always played with them.
Yeah.
I think I was kind of like out of the picture when they were doing when kind of like Heat of the Deceiver and Dweller combined
Yeah.
their lineups. I never really got to see them live at that stage of their, you know,
Oh,
career,
really?
but like early Dweller, and even when we did the uh Dweller reunion, they only played the older songs. They didn't really do any of the newer stuff because Joe drummed, um,
Yeah.
and the other guitar player was a buddy of mine, and he kind of like filled in too. He never he was in a band with Ryan at that time called Safe Words.
Okay.
So that's kind of like how he got in, and then he was just kind of like, hey, like I don't think any of the vocalists from Dweller time is like wanting to do anything. So he's like, you just want to like
Yeah.
do it, and I'm like, sure. It was fun. That show too, like, was pretty intense too. I remember some kid trying to like start a fight, and then they slammed like a glass beer bottle over his head,
Really?
and yeah, I was like, I didn't see it, but there's like a video clip. I think it's on YouTube where like you can kind of see it starting and like this kid getting jumped,
Oh, really?
and we're still playing and stuff. So I was like, you
Oh,
know,
I didn't know you. I don't think I seen the YouTube video of you guys doing that. You should send it to me if you
yeah, for sure, yeah. It's not too long. It's not like a full song or anything, but it's just like a small clip.
yeah. I
Um,
remember like Greg was hanging out with Madgwick,
mhm,
which was guitar player, and that was before the Deceiver merger, like you said.
yeah,
Um and then he was like, yeah, they need a bassist, so I'm gonna be doing some bass, but and then I think around that time is when our band had kind of fell apart because I remember working and they were playing at Rack and Roll. And I
Yeah,
was like, "Oh, I'll come out and see you," you know. So I went like on the clock and watched their set, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like I loved them. I loved that
yeah,
like the reality vector. I still jam all the time. Like I thought Tim did a great job. I thought Steve was a monster vocalist.
yeah. Steve's pretty he's pretty good, and
Yeah.
he's pretty underrated too in my eyes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And
that
the
Yeah.
funny thing too was like he was like a guitar player. That was his first time ever doing, like, with Heat of the Deceiver. That was like his first time doing vocals,
Yeah.
and he was just naturally like, he was like Phil Bozeman right off the bat, and
Yeah.
yeah,
it
yeah,
was it was crazy. Like he's another guy too. Like I'm not sure what he's up to nowadays, but he's another one where it's just like he's just so musically inclined. Like you can pick up anything probably and just shred it.
Yeah. I think they've had a hard time getting a hold of him just from I've talked to some other people that have been in projects with him and they said that they've tried to reach out for like getting together again
Mm-hmm.
in other projects and they're not able to get a hold of him. He's just busy or whatever it may be. But
Yeah,
I remember Tim talking about them, like him and Tim sitting down and writing songs for that album like
yeah. I
the
think.
night before. Like
Uh,
lyrics, like they didn't have lyrics down and they were going to
oh
track and
damn.
yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool, dude. I think that's super cool. You got to be a part of that. And
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Sean
It,
and I are on some deathcore group on Facebook, and randomly people will post like, "Oh, remember this band?" and they put them
oh
up, and I
yeah,
was like, "Oh shit!" Like somebody, you know what I mean?
yeah. Like
yeah.
lots of people had that. Um, what was it? What was the name of that album? Is like Perception or
Uh, something in reality. No, uh,
Yeah, the Reality
I
Vector was the second one, but what
yeah.
was the first one? Um, let's see. I think I could look real quick.
Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. My brain. I think I got pizza on my brain. I'm waiting for the DoorDash to get here. And I was thinking of "And Hell Followed With" when you was
Oh yeah,
when you
I don't know
Oh,
how to say that one either.
proprioception.
Yes, there you go.
yeah, like it's crazy how much I see that album brought up. Like it's insane. Like
Oh, that one. Yeah, particularly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Dude, their newest stuff, like that I'm gonna say Pat. Like, because I think it's
Yeah.
mainly
It's
Pat,
the
I
Pat
think.
project now.
But dude, it is super heavy, dude. Like super heavy. With that vocalist, they didn't really like release his name at first.
Mm.
Like it was, I don't know if they did it all yet. I'm not sure, but
yeah,
I just watched a podcast with him, and it's the Brutality podcast. You ever see that, Trevor?
Is that the guy who's kind of is the host like is he like European almost?
I think I think they're from like the French part of Canada.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I'm
Like
I'm thinking of somebody else. I think.
the one interviewer has kind of like a French Canadian accent.
Does he have face tattoos?
Yes.
Okay, maybe it is the same guy.
Yep. Yeah, he's got like it, he's always in like the upper corner, and then the other dude is kind of like I think has like a ponytail or like a man bun
Okay.
with some facial hair. But yeah, but they were talking to him, and it was kind of cool to hear the background of that band. I mean, we your band, our band played with those guys a million times, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's kind of cool to just hear the backstory on on them.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I was pretty close with Nick growing up,
Yeah,
because we kind of invited Fatal Fire to come play down here. They invited us to go play up there.
yeah,
And he was, he'd be kind of, he let me in a little bit, and he was like, "Yo, we're changing our name to like And Hell Followed With, and here's like a few demos." And like I remember hearing Serpents Beneath Their Hoods. I think
yeah,
that was off of the Domain record, but like the first like demo track of that was, I'm like, holy shit, this stuff's gonna be good. And
yeah.
it really did. Like the first like couple lineups of that band, I think was that band.
Oh
Uh
yeah,
I I kind of fell off with them. Like I know that they're still around, and it's kind of just Pat now
Yeah.
and like some hired guns. Um, but
Yep.
when I think of them, I obviously think of like the early days and
Like MySpace
um,
deathcore. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
Oh
and
yeah, for sure. Nick was like actually, dude, there's a certain way that you scream sometimes, and I can't do it, so I can't tell you what it is, but it reminds me of something that
rawr.
Nick did sometimes, which it really I feel like wasn't necessarily fitting to their style of
mhm,
music, but
yeah,
uh but I always loved it. It was this real just like throaty, almost mixed with like a guttural type of sound. Do you know what I'm talking about?
a little bit, yeah,
I'll send it to you one day and I'll be like this,
yeah,
like you do this sometime. But which I didn't know though. I watched in that interview and they said that he was a huge Trevor Strnad.
yeah.
Uh, so I can
That's
see that now, you know.
that's actually how I learned how to do vocals when I was you know 15. I picked up like I like a I think it was like a comb or something, and I would sit in front of the computer and just scream "Funeral Thirst" over and over and over because I liked like the quick balance or like the quick changes of like high to low, high to low, high to low,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
yep,
you kind of build up stamina that way too,
Oh yeah, I could see that.
and you kind of start developing your own style, and you can kind of find like your tone in between those two levels too.
yeah.
Yeah.
I still
But
don't
yeah,
know.
that definitely, Trevor of Black Dahlia Murder what is definitely my what got me into wanting to do vocals in the big first place,
Oh,
and I would practice doing Black Dahlia Murder songs.
Hell
that's
yeah.
awesome. I that's a question we didn't get to ask you, but it fit in there. Yeah, I think a lot of people. I just went and saw him. Uh, what what was it? Probably 2 months, 3 months ago,
Mhm.
and it's something about like the fact that that Brian and Trevor were like the staples of that band and the
Mhm.
kind of like the driving force all the way through, and I think for him to step up. Um, and whether you could say, well, they're trying to still make money as a band, but
Mhm.
I'd like to think that I think he's doing it for, his brother that was in that band with him for
Oh
so
yeah,
long. And,
100%. I think that was the best choice
yeah,
anyway because he was kind of already doing vocals
yes.
uh to begin with.
Yep, I
And
think so
so
too.
it was just fitting, and um you know he's just as much the Black Dahlia Murder as Trevor was.
Yes, I think so too.
And I think it probably would have been a little odd if they got somebody totally new and random.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, he's doing like a fantastic job anyway, and it still kind of almost sounds the same,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
kind of like odd, but um, it's the same but different, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's cool too. Like they didn't do it at the show I went to, but like those early shows, like when they just came back and they would like
Mhm.
they're chanting his name and stuff, and I'm like, man, that's like so powerful, you know?
Yeah, that
But
was when I heard that news. I was like, fucking like, whoa! Like I had to like.
yeah.
Usually,
Oh
when you
Yeah,
yeah.
hear like celebrity deaths or like musician deaths, you're kind of just like, oh damn, that's a bummer, and then you're just going on about your day.
Yeah.
But that's like the only one where I've like had to like, I like sat and thought about it. I was like, damn,
Yeah.
this
yeah,
sucks.
yeah. Shortly after he passed away, so I go to that Slick Disc all the time to buy my vinyl records. And Casey, the guy that works there, said that his cousin was in there looking for Black Dahlia Murder records, and he said that like I was never really a big fan of their music, but I kind of want to just check it out now, just to
Mhm.
out of respect for him, and I thought that was really touching, and at the
Yeah,
Oh
same
yeah,
time
for
broke my
sure.
heart.
and them as a band too, they do a lot for
Yeah.
Michigan music too. Like I remember Trevor, like he ran like I think he did like a podcast almost or some sort of like YouTube channel. He
Yeah,
was
yeah,
putting a lot of stuff on the map that wouldn't get the time of day. and
Yep.
I always heard that, or like interviews that he was on, like he had like this crazy collection of just
Yeah.
music. And you'll usually see those guys too at like random shows. Like they're going to local shows still, hanging out in the crowd.
Yep.
They're not cool guys in the green room or anything. Like at that Alien Ant Farm show, uh, their current drummer was there just hanging out.
No,
And
that's cool.
um, also Violent J was there too.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome, dude.
without makeup. So it was kind of weird to kind of like you didn't notice at first, but then you kind of do like a double take and you're like, holy shit, that's
Oh,
Violent
I
J.
would have been completely starstruck.
Oh, I definitely was. Like everybody was like taking pictures with him and stuff, and he was kind of just like, three people away from me like the whole night, just
Really?
hanging out. And I ended up, I was like, hey, like you don't have to if you don't want to, but would you be down to
Right,
take
can
a
I?
video?
Right.
Yeah, like I gotta take this chance. Yeah, he was cool. He's just another example, like Black Dahlia, where like even him,
Yeah.
like he's out in the crowd with people.
Yep.
They're going to these shows at local venues. They do a lot too for music as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I have heard that too. And I think the hard part for me and like Sean and you both said, I think when you have someone that's like that has the personality like that, like not just a front man, but just like a genuinely good person, you can just tell,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you kind of attach onto that, especially when they have maybe somewhat of a celebrity status too, to where they're in the limelight a little bit,
Yeah.
Um, but well deserved for him, and I think they've paved the way for, like you said,
Oh yeah,
yourself trying to,
yeah.
or uh anybody else that's wanted to learn vocals or wanted to be a
Mm-hmm.
guitar player or drummer or whatever it may be, you look up to some of these people like him.
Oh yeah, especially for anybody in Michigan too. Like
Yeah,
I
that's the
guarantee,
band that
like
made it,
anybody that plays guitar knows at least some sort of Black Dahlia Murder part, or
right.
practice to
Yep.
a song, learning how to play guitar or drums, whatever it may be.
Yo. Yeah, so funny you say that too. The buddy that I sent one of your songs to today that I was telling you about, um, he played in a band called Daniel.
Oh,
Um,
Daniel, I remember them.
Oh yeah,
yeah, so
Yeah.
he's the drummer. His name's Dave.
Oh, okay. I always remember hearing Little Dave
Little Dave.
Yeah,
or
Little
Yep,
Dave.
yep.
Yeah.
yep.
Yep. He kind of looks like the dude from Atreyu, the guitar player from Atreyu.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that guy's still in the band or not. He was kind of a smaller guy, but
Yeah.
Dave's awesome. But when Daniel was recording their EP at wherever Black Dahlia did their demo, I forgot the name of the place. It's a popular place, but they got to see that first drummer they had. I forgot his name. Is it Grady or something like that?
Um, Cody
Cody.
Grady. Yeah.
Cody, that's what it is. Yeah. They got to see him tracking drums for the demo. So
Oh, damn.
that's
Yeah.
super cool, you know.
Yes.
And
Wow.
and don't you feel like Black Dahlia too is one of those bands that like evolved, like they had that hardcore sound kind of
Hmm.
like a Bloodline or a Friction type of sound, and then they kind of turned into, they always consider themselves, I think, death metal,
Yeah.
but it's kind
Yeah.
of
You
crazy
can
to how what they
you can
morphed
definitely
into.
hear it in that first record for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it's like if At the Gates played more breakdowns.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and then like yeah, you can tell like the evolution and this a little bit more death metal, straight or just straight up, metal with a breakdown here and
I
there.
think it was the first time I ever heard a vocalist switch it up like you were saying
Hmm.
so fast, and I still
Yeah,
don't know if I've ever heard anyone do it as well as he did. Like go from like just
yeah,
I,
yeah,
Yeah.
I
and
can't
like
do it.
naturally too. There's a lot. I'm sure there is some little fancy touch ups on the recordings, but I'm pretty sure like that's all natural.
Yeah.
Um, because like I hear that a lot in like modern music where it's like a lot of touch up. Uh, or you can tell it was like punched in a little bit more,
Yeah, yeah.
um, or enhanced a little bit, layered, uh, a lot of layers.
Yeah.
Uh, but like, yeah, Black Dahlia Murder, you can just tell it was probably just like one or two tracks of him just going up and down, and like maybe like sprinkled in some
Yeah. A lie or
recording
a high
magic
and
here
a
and there.
low, overlay or something.
Yeah,
But yeah. And that's why like you said, talking about Brian being doing vocals already, like I don't know if, and maybe did he do them on the albums? Because sometimes he sounds like Trevor's low sometimes to where you hear
yeah.
like
Um, I think on the first record, I want to say is where you can probably notice it the most.
yeah,
Uh, Definitely live more than anything.
oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. They both
but
they both were crowd. You know, Sean and I got to see Trevor in the crowd at a Beneath the Massacre and
Dying fetus. Yeah.
Dying Fetus, yeah, at Blondie's, and
wow,
he was
yeah.
just walking in the crowd, and I remember being starstruck, like, oh my God, there he is, you know?
Yeah, I remember usually you could catch them at like the Majestic all the time,
Yeah,
or just pretty much anywhere downriver, Metro Detroit area.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah, first time I
right.
heard him, my friend Trevor Allen, he sent me their song off of mp3.com. If you can remember all the way back then.
yeah,
Right.
And it was the demos that hadn't came out for Unhallowed yet. It was Dihor Cosmic and the Blackest Incarnation, and I'm like, what kind of crazy shit is this, dude?
I remember because I got into that first record first, and then I would kind of like deep dive and like see what I can find out online. And I think I remember downloading. It was either it wasn't Napster, but it was Kazaa
Yep.
Oh yeah,
or Bearshare at the time, and I remember hearing them covering "Paint It Black,"
yeah,
and
Oh
I
god.
was like, "Oh, I found something super deep. This is a
Yeah,
deep
man.
cut."
I'm not.
And it was just a cover, and even that was like crazy good too.
yeah,
And I was like, I gotta rip this onto my iPod right now.
I must have went through like 5 PCs with all the viruses I was downloading.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. I think I had like LimeWire or some shit,
Yeah,
Yep.
So your first band that was Savage Nature of Man, right?
yeah, yeah.
And you said you were what, 15 or something when that was?
I would say probably 15, 16 because I was definitely like going into freshman year of high school.
Okay.
Um, and it was just kind of like a couple guys in the local neighborhood. They were I think a year or two older than me. Um, and they were just like, "Hey, you want to start a band?" And I was just like, "Sure." I think I know how to scream, like because they wanted to do like metal. And,
Yeah.
I think the influences at that time was like Children of Bodom. Uh, wasn't really like extreme stuff yet. Uh, it was more like Children of Bodom. God, who was some other metal bands similar to that at that time? Uh, As Lay Dying.
Oh yeah.
Um,
You didn't want to mention that band, did you? You're like, oh man, he just got caught hitting his dog and shit.
yeah, yeah. What a downfall that you can have a
Oh
whole
my
story
gosh.
about that because they were at one point on top of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
They were like the big band,
Yeah.
and then
Playing like whacking and stuff, just
yeah,
thousands of people.
yeah. And I mean, I won't lie, that Shadows Our Security record
Oh yeah.
is that's a good record. Like the
Yeah.
breakdowns hit hard, the riffs are good,
Yeah.
everything about it is like perfect, but just had
Yeah.
a different way of life at some point.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's in a world of hurt. And I thought
Yeah.
he was coming out of it.
Same.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought he was
he's
I
kind
don't
of
think
yeah.
so.
yeah.
It's I think it's past the point where there's no return anymore.
No.
It's just too deep, and he's
Yeah.
never gonna compete with like the internet
No.
working against him, even if he tried being like a better person.
Right.
Um, but yeah, As Lay Dying at that time was like a
Yeah.
big influence for a lot of people. I know that's when like the Devil Wears Prada was kind of starting because we had a keyboard player too.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so I mean the keyboards kind of came from like Children Bone had a keyboard player, uh, Devil Wears Prada had a keyboard player. That was like the thing, and
Yep.
then it kind of turned into like you know if Attack Attack was starting to get popular, and then it was like, okay, let's ditch the keyboards.
Right.
um, uh, but we were trying, Bleeding Through they have a keyboard player,
What's
and
up,
that's
Yeah.
Blake?
like
Oh yeah.
what we were trying to capture. Because I still have that demo CD, and it wasn't like like a rave techno synth or anything. It was like dark horsey, black metal-ish stuff.
Yep.
And for being 15 and making those songs, they weren't that bad. uh I mean, it's bad, but I've heard worse from that age, like when you're
Right.
first starting your first bands and stuff. And no, I've been pretty lucky too to play with people who are just like naturally gifted, and kind of
Yeah.
just helps me get better over time. And
Oh yeah, for sure. Do
the
you have demos
drummer,
of that project, or
what's that?
you have demos of that band?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
That's cool.
Hey, Nat, just
uh
so you know, Blake entered the chat.
Oh, what a shame. I'm just kidding. What's up, Blake?
uh
Poor guy.
I'll have to upload those to like a SoundCloud or Bandcamp or something, and you can tell I'm 15 for sure,
Right.
or like super young. And yeah, the drummer was like really good because he was like in drumline, and he was in like the marching band, so like he knew how to like do the snare really well,
Yeah.
and just kind of like uh you know doing double bass like consistent and
Right.
accurate. Um, and yeah, they were all solid dudes. And
And you guys played like, did you say you played modern?
yeah, we played with I think we played with you guys a few times under that name. We played with Mary Shaw a lot,
Oh, okay. Yeah, we
like
definitely,
early Mary Shaw.
right. We might have been, were we OBTB then, or were we as treacherous as the sea then?
I think the C one, because I do remember that
Yeah.
name.
We had a different
I
vocalist, had
uh-huh.
Nick was our vocalist, kind of a beardy Jesus looking guy.
I remember playing with a band. I want to say they were called the Gentlemen's Club.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And I remember, I don't know if it was that band, but I remember somebody having like huge plugs,
L,
Yeah.
and they were like bright pink.
L, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Al, yeah. No, he's in prison for murder.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
damn.
now was it because our singer, well, the singer of that band also had big plugs
Okay.
and became the singer in OBTB for a little bit. He's in our like we got a little music video on YouTube. I don't know if you've ever
Uh-huh.
seen it,
Is
but
that the one that's
he's
like in
in
a
it.
basement?
Yeah, it's in
It's like a
Sean's basement.
party. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Chris if you're talking about him. He's got decent sized plugs.
Okay.
But
I
Al,
just
the
remember
bass player, did
somebody
too.
with like, I remember the name Gentlemen's Club for some reason, and like huge plugs that were like bright pink.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Um,
both those guys were in that band.
It's so
But yeah,
crazy
the
because
Al guy became our bass player for a little while. And heroin, man.
damn.
Heroin got him, and I think he got charged for like giving heroin to somebody and that person died. So they
Damn.
charged him with
Yeah.
yeah.
oh
So
man, he was kind of
but
like hanging out with Tommy Chong. He was just, what's going on, man? Like just really
yeah, he was very eccentric, just different, yeah. But yeah, he got in our band for a little bit, and then the singer of that Gentleman's Club band got in our band for a little bit, and then which I've just I went to that Black Dahlia Murder show with well I met up with him there. He was there, but they're not doing well. The singer isn't doing anything anymore, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
we played I talked to Jenica not long ago about oh, because we had a flyer. I don't know if you guys were on it or not, but it was their merch or their equipment had got stolen. So they were doing like a
mm,
yeah, they were doing like a show to like save money for their equipment.
okay.
But
We might have changed our name to Beyond the Burning at that point.
oh yeah.
Because
Oh,
we
I think
did
you're on it then.
that was a that was like the same band, but we changed the name.
Yeah. Let me
Um,
see real quick because I'm
and
pretty sure.
we did play with Mary Shaw a lot because we shared drummers. Because the second drummer was uh the next drummer of Mary Shaw too.
Oh, really?
So we would always he would always do like double duty, and we'd always play together.
Yeah, let me see if I could find this thing.
I'm trying to think of other bands too around that time that we played with a lot. Abby Martin was a big one.
Oh yeah.
They were like the biggest downriver band.
Yeah.
I'll be right
Yeah,
back.
yep. Yeah, we
uh,
were Sean and I were in a band called and I always have to say that we had the name first, but we were Floating Face Down.
oh yeah, I do. I remember that.
And we used to play up there. Um yeah. Let's
And
see.
Battle
Here's the
Ray was a good
flyer.
one. There was a lot of good bands
Yeah, dude,
too.
look at I don't know if you can see this flyer, but look. Can you see this at all?
It kind of
It
disappeared.
disappeared. I'll send it to you, dude, but
Okay.
it was Mary Shaw, Beyond the Burning. Uh how do I read that? Short of the Kill, After Prior Day, Fetus Eater,
I remember Fetus Eater.
Us as Treacherous, and the Gentleman's Club. Oh, and Sheboygan.
Oh, Sheboygan. Okay, I was in Sheboygan for like a show.
Really?
I Yeah. So Sheboygan was kind of like a joke band, from Allen Park, and kind of it was just like it was like a super joke. It was nothing super serious, and it would go up there. It was mostly covers, and then like one joke original song,
Yeah,
and tried to make it a serious band for a second. It had Steve from Heat Deceiver in it. I was
really.
in it. Uh, Corey was in it. Was in some other bands with us. Um, and Anthony was the main guy behind it. But yeah, Sheboygan, like I think we played the Modern as that lineup once, and I that was the first and last time I ever played guitar live.
That's awesome.
But yeah, wow, that I totally forgot about that until he just said that.
Yeah, dude. I'll send you this flyer. So our old drummer, he had a stack of these flyers still from the show. So
Wow.
I was like, I gotta get one, frame it or something, because I don't have
I
nothing. I don't have shit for
That's probably
flyers.
why I think of the Gentleman's Club as was that show, because I remember that show being like sold out, and that was like my first modern show where it was like
Yeah.
wall to wall full of people.
It says the tickets were $8.
Oh my god.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's good times. What so with the artwork stuff, you said you've done some other band stuff too with
Yeah. So I do I do it for full time, and then I do a lot of like music stuff. I do a lot of because bands always need it.
yeah,
Um yeah, I do a lot of stuff, kind of almost kind of like behind the scenes, like everybody usually like, where'd you get that done from or whatever, and yeah, or like I'll go see like people wearing the shirts at shows, and I'm just like, they don't know
right.
I did
That's
that.
it. That's cool, dude.
um a lot of At the moment, a lot of obviously I do all of our own stuff for Wheel Rot.
Yeah.
um and then a lot of hardcore bands. At the moment, I'll do a lot of Annie Up.
Okay.
I do a lot of their merch. Off the Walls, a side project from Annie Up. I do theirs. Escalation of Force. I did Smash Your Enemies stuff.
Nice.
That was like my first big one when they kind of like signed to I think Eulogy Records.
Yeah.
I did that whole CD.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool, dude.
so it kind of like, thanks to music and kind of playing music with all these people, I had that
Yeah.
kind of like connection to be like, hey, I kind of, at first I was just like, hey, I'll do this for free just because I need experiment or
Right. Trying to get the exposure.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like free practice for me. Um, and I kept doing it, and I really like doing album covers.
Yeah.
Um, I did yours.
Yeah.
That was a fun one to do because I don't really get to do a lot of like metal style stuff because usually hardcore is pretty simple or it's like one color.
Right.
Um, every
I
now
think
and
you nailed it,
then,
man.
yeah.
I know the fellas were super pleased with it, and I screwed it up, and I'm such a you know this because I reached out to you, like trying to get our music online and stuff, and
Oh
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
so like the second song that we released, which was actually the first song I ever wrote for this project, but I screwed the artwork up, so it's just like part of the Whisper the Witch image. It's just
Oh
like
yeah.
part of the dark trees, and I'm like, I don't know how to change it. So
I think I noticed that, and I'm like, this actually kind of looks pretty cool.
really, he just
Like
zoomed in in
it
some
still
weird.
works.
Yeah.
Um,
But
yeah, yeah. I really like doing. I really like doing that. Uh, I would like to do more of it. I just, since I work full time, by the time I get home, I'm just like, I just want to
oh yeah.
hang out on the couch and just chill for a second.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it still keeps me busy. People still come back, uh,
Yo.
especially for like the hardcore stuff. Since it's really simple and kind of easy to do, I don't really charge much for it, so it kind of keeps them coming back.
Yeah.
Um, but I did I kind of it kind of branches off. Like I don't just do music as well. Like I know Terry from Smash Your Enemies and Escalation Force. He did like a Detroit boxing clothing company. So because of our music connection, I was able to do T-shirts for him, and he was able to do like collaborations from people with like in the UFC.
Oh,
So I
nice.
got to get like a shirt on pay per view, which was like really cool to
Oh
see.
yeah, that's super
Oh
cool,
man.
dude.
And some legendary boxers like Tommy Hearns and stuff.
Yeah.
All Detroit stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah, like
that's cool.
everything kind of stems from music at some point. Uh, and it's just kind of funny how playing music and all these connections and stuff kind of branches off into all these different avenues
It's
that have
wild,
nothing to
isn't
do
it?
with music, uh, but it's all based from that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dude, that's cool. And hopefully too, I don't know who all is listening to this, but if you know anybody looking for artwork, reach out to Trevor. What's your you have a
Um,
website too, don't you?
yeah, so I usually go by tgilesdesigns .com. I need to update my Instagram really bad. But I do have an Instagram and a Facebook page. But yeah, the best way is probably just the website has all the context information in there. You can kind of take a look at. I have a little bit more corporate stuff on there because that was for my my main
Yeah.
gig.
I
But
was
I
gonna say I
do,
knew you were doing that too, so
yeah. But I do have some music stuff up on there too, and yeah, I try to keep the Instagram separate so I can add more variety on there as well. But yeah,
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 for sure.
do if anybody ever needs something, if it's something I can pull off, I'll try my best and uh, try to make something for whatever you need.
Blake, what
For
the hell are
sure.
you talking about? The
Yeah,
chicks doing
sorry.
yoga on YouTube is fire. Oh man.
Yeah, and for anybody listening too, feel free to reach out to me or Sean to get a hold of Trevor. We can get you in contact with the right guy.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the next show? You got one lined up?
So we do have one that's unannounced, but it will be so there's kind of a pretty cool like it's almost like a metalcore revival, but it's like in the DIY scene,
Oh,
kind of like punky. Um, but they're with those bands are kind of like getting pretty popular right now in their age group. That's gonna